Welcome on into You Heard with Nerds. I'm Brett.
I'm Dorian.
We got some nerd news for you today.
A whole bunch of it, matter
Yeah.
of fact. So just kind of give you a brief idea of what we're going to be going over. There's a possible Superman reboot on the horizon for the DC movie universe or whatever that might be looking like. We're going to be talking about Avatar's latest studio that just opened up that's going to be dedicated solely just to be making Avatar movies, TV shows, all that good stuff. We're also going to be
Give it
talking
to
about
me.
we're also going to be talking about the latest Pokemon games that just got announced just today. But to kick things off, the new Spider-Man 3
Spider-Man 3.
has a actual title now. We don't have to keep calling it the new Spider-Man 3 anymore. We still probably will.
So I think it was So the day before they actually released the real title, like Tom Holland, Zendaya, and then is it Jacob Battalion or Battalion? I don't know how to say his last
I
name.
don't remember his name.
Anyway, they all tweeted out fake names.
Right,
and
like
then they
Spider-Man
did like a little
Home
bit
Slice
basically.
or something like that.
Yeah. And so now we have the actual title, which is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Spider-Verse movie.
You know, I mean, it's very fitting for it is very fitting for if it is going to be a Spider-Verse movie. And I think they also showed like some production stills, but nothing that like indicated that this was going to be a Spider-Verse movie. But
it's just the three main kids basically.
Yeah, which this announcement, like you said, comes right after they kind of teased and kind of joked around on social media about what the title of the movie was going to be. And essentially they released a video where he's talking with the Tom Holland is talking with the director, and he wouldn't tell him the name of the movie, and they poked fun at the fact that Tom Holland could keep a secret. If you haven't seen it, it's funny. But and the movie is
and then
still
they walk
set.
past a whiteboard and it says,
Spider-Man No Way Home here. All right, so talking more about Spider-Man No Way Home. So it's still set to be a December release for this year, December 17th. So fingers crossed on that one.
Mark your calendars.
I'm guessing if everything is still looking, good, which we'll be talking about, like what the future of movie theaters might be looking like sometime in the near future later on in this show. But I'm guessing if everything keeps progressing like it is, and we are supposed to be getting that December release date, I'm going to assume that maybe like April or May, we might start seeing something like a teaser or trailer or something like that. Maybe. I mean, who knows? It's like,
I can see that happening for sure.
Yeah. I mean, COVID's been kind of weird when it's come to trailers, essentially. Like, we just got a trailer for Mortal Kombat just last week. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Dorian, did you know that Tom Holland auditioned for Force Awakens?
I kind of did, because I kind of worked on this show notes here, but but tell me more about it, Brett. I'm all ears.
Well, all I saw the article too, and basically it just highlights that Tom Holland auditioned for a Star Wars movie, and he's kind of thinking, at least, that it was for Finn's role that he was auditioning, but he basically couldn't get through the audition process because, like, the person who was doing the screen test, or I don't know if it was a screen test, but basically it's probably one of the producers or directors doing the BB-8 noises, and he couldn't stop laughing. So Tom Holland was almost in Force Awakens, which makes me think, would we have gotten Spider-Man Tom Holland? I don't know.
I'm guessing we wouldn't have, just because I think that would just be typecasting for one. You're not seeing like too much layover with like Star Wars people going over to Marvel and vice versa, except for like Paul Bettany and Solo, and then also you had
That's true.
you also had you're also having Oscar Isaac play Moon Knight.
Donald
But I mean
Glover.
that, yeah,
Donald
but
Glover.
that's yeah. All right, I'll give that one to
Still
you.
crossover.
Still crossover, yeah.
Yeah.
So, um,
I'm fine with him not getting it for the same reasons, kind of that I think I think we're on the same page with this, at least when it comes to like, I would rather see him as Spider-Man than as Finn. I honestly can't imagine him as Finn. Like if you look at the Force Awakens, you know,
yeah, yeah. I can't really see like in terms of like how Finn actually manifested himself as a character through John Boyega and all that. I don't really see that from
yeah.
Tom Holland, at least not that same type of energy. But that didn't stop him from starring alongside with Daisy Ridley. He's got that new movie coming out, Chaos Walking. So, you know,
Yeah, but that isn't that movie like 5 years old or something like that. Like it's like
I
really old. I feel like.
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I've just seen some trailers about it, and that's about it. So I have no idea about
Okay.
like how long that movie's been around for.
Well, you want to hear
So
some bad news?
lay it on me.
Loki's been delayed.
For how long?
Yeah. Oh wow, we got to wait till June now.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
I
June
mean,
11th. So I get it. I know that there's other stuff that they want to do. They have stuff coming out consistently, and they probably just move this. I don't know. I feel like they could have released it now, but it's one of those things where they're probably trying to pace out all their stuff to cover the whole year. I don't know.
that's what I'm guessing. I mean, I think ultimately, we'll be covering it in a little bit, but a show got announced for May for Disney Plus. So maybe they might have thought that they might have been overlapping with that. I don't know. I mean, I definitely think
I feel
that
like they're going to be two like different demographics, you know?
you are
I don't know.
correct.
Maybe not.
You are correct on that. Um, at the same time, I mean, I definitely can see some overlap on that front.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I
But
think
Doran, we
ultimate.
have Mighty Ducks
That's
coming
true.
out.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
about it. I'm gonna be a fan of that show. I'm gonna do some reviews on it, even if you're
Oh,
not. So
I'm not. I mean, I got no connection to the Mighty Ducks other
yeah,
than the cartoon. But we already, but
we
anyhow.
already
So,
discussed that. Yeah,
um, yeah, no, I think this is more of a strategic move just so that Disney can kind of pad out like the subscription and just kind of keep that subscription consistent because you got to figure, next week is going to be the finale of WandaVision. So a couple weeks after that, we are getting Falcon Winter Soldier, which that should probably take us like to the beginning of May. So they figured like, okay,
and Mighty
if
Ducks.
right. Yeah, let's not forget about that. And
But
and
yes,
so that being said, I think the idea was like, okay, if you're a Marvel fan, you're not going to cancel your subscription because Loki is on the way. So we can extend that out a couple of weeks and make a couple more bucks off you. Just a hunch.
yeah. I mean, I think at this point, it's kind of one of those things where they got something, at least one or two things coming out each month, and I think they know they have us now. Like most people are just going to keep subscribed if they're coming out with like a couple new shows every single month.
Yeah.
And so I know there's stuff, and not just that, but thinking through March, it's kind of a big month for Disney because you've got Falcon Winter Soldier, the Mighty Ducks, and Raya, the new Pixar movie, essentially the new Disney princess movie,
Well,
Raya and the
yeah,
Dragon.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so or Raya, I don't know how they say it, I can't remember, but that's coming out in
I
March for
don't know.
Premiere Access, which is $30 or whatever. But it's a big month.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean they're going to be busy for sure this month. I mean, there's no question about that. So,
Let's
we'll
talk Blue
see.
Beetle.
Yeah, flipping it over to the DC side of things. So, Blue Beetle got his own movie. He's it's going to be focusing on Jaime Reyes, which is basically the character you see, or the version of the character you see in Young Justice, and
Young
kind of
Justice,
the
yeah.
kind of the more like probably like the most well known version of him, at least at this point in time. I want to say,
Modern, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
already has a director, Angel Manuel Soto. So looked him up. He hasn't done anything that I could really that was really of note. Uh, that was of note to me here for the most part, or anything that like stood out to me. But they are planning on starting the production for this movie in the fall. So that being said,
Pretty quick.
yeah, I kind of feel like this might be one of those situations like with Batgirl and Static Shock, because a couple weeks back we talked about how the one of the guys, I think it was either for DC or HBO Max, was saying that Batgirl and Static Shock could essentially be HBO Max exclusive movies. So, because they're just, lower tier, they don't think that there might be a big box office turnout, but it might be better suited for a streaming audience and like get more numbers off of streaming. That being said, could I feel like if that is the route they're going to go with those two, I feel like they are going to do the same thing with Blue Beetle, because he's a lesser known character than either of those two
A
here.
much lesser
So
character, yeah.
yeah, so I'd be shocked if he got a theatrical release while those guys remain exclusively on the streaming service.
Yeah. Let's talk about some bigger characters though, because Zack Snyder, if he had his way, we're looking
He's
at some Bruce and
he's
Lois
at
connections.
he's at it again. He's at it again. So yeah,
Back at it
basically
again.
Zack Snyder, apparently when he was working on Justice League back in 2017, he pitched the idea to like Warner Studios about Bruce and Lois Lane having a romantic subplot, which basically how he said
Oops.
would like kind of cause like a internal conflict with Bruce about him resurrecting Superman, because it's like, okay, either I keep the girl and the world just
Or I
goes to
resurrect our
crap,
only hope.
or I resurrect Superman and lose the girl here. And so Warner at some
I don't
point
know, man.
obviously axed this idea. Now it's unclear whether or not that happened before Joss Whedon took over the reins or after. I don't know. Either way, let's talk about this for a second. I get that
Okay.
this is something that kind of happened in the comics before. You had Bruce Wayne, not Batman, but Bruce Wayne, kind of being, his playboy billionaire self, kind of flirting with Lois Lane, but kind of more as like a guise for the most part here. At least like from the comics and media that I've seen and read. So I don't get how this would serve the movie at all, especially considering how Bruce was like seconds away from killing Superman before Lois Lane showed up, and kind of saw that oh yeah, you remember that one time I almost killed your dead boyfriend here? How's that going to go over?
Great.
I mean, just because something has some roots in the comics doesn't necessarily make it good. Otherwise, Spider-Man would be a clone in the movies right now, because that happened. And
Yeah.
just get ready for more quality content like this when The Snyder Cut releases on HBO Max in a couple of weeks.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we have the
Somebody has to.
Flash. Yeah. We have the Flash cast Supergirl, which I thought this was really odd in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sasha, is it Kale? I don't know. Has been cast as
I,
Supergirl.
I, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we have a Supergirl in the upcoming Ezra Miller Flash movie. Don't know whether or not this is supposed to be Kara Danvers. It might be like a multiverse variant of her, essentially, like kind of how Power Girl essentially is Supergirl from a different universe or whatever. But yeah, I kind of feel like this movie is starting to get a little crowded, especially for like, a studio that really hasn't like proved themselves on like a big ensemble movie just quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, cool, I guess. But yeah, it seems like there's a lot of moving pieces in this
Yeah.
movie already. So why add this? But there's more Superman news ahead. There's a reboot in the works.
Hmm.
Apparently, JJ Abrams is attached. It might
He
be
is.
set in the DCEU. And
Yep.
it's not clear if Henry Cavill will be involved because there's reports saying that he's going to be replaced by an African American actor. So I don't know. I kind of hate this,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah. You know, so I'm
Just,
guessing Henry. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, just either have this be something separate, but don't just like replace him. Like, either have him be
Sure.
involved or don't. Like, just make it definitive.
Right. Well, and here's how I kind of feel about this news. It's been clear about, Henry Cavill's return to the DCEU has been very up in the air, especially after he took on the role of Geralt in The Witcher. And I think I think there's also rumors about him like possibly doing a Mass Effect project, whether he's going to be in the game or, in that movie that they've been trying to get greenlit for like years on end. I don't know. But here's the thing. You know, I feel like Henry Cavill is a good actor. I don't know if I was like a huge fan of his Superman, but I feel like he could pull it off if he just had the right script. With like Zack Snyder and all that, I
Yeah.
don't think he got the right script. And I get that they didn't exactly nail Superman like with all the Zack Snyder edginess and blah 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 and the dark and brooding and whatever here. But I don't know if a reboot's really going to be the best way to fix things, especially if you're just going to reboot it with just a black Superman and just call it good. I mean, essentially, I just feel like this is DC trying to chase after that Black Panther money. And apparently, DC has a shortage of black superheroes that they can pull from here, Like, they couldn't make a John Stewart Green Lantern movie. It's like, we have a Justice
Yeah.
League movie. Like, where's that John Stewart Green Lantern movie? You could just sidestep the whole Hal Jordan thing and just do John Stewart.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Well, good news is we might be going to the theater sooner than we think.
fingers crossed, people. Fingers crossed.
Starting March 5th, New York can open theaters with limited capacity, 25% of full capacity, no more than 50 people total. What movie theaters are left?
AMC apparently is still kicking. I mean, their stock actually went up.
After
Like
this announcement?
after this announcement, and even like
Dang it.
some
Should have
even
bought
some
some.
you should have, and even some redditors when that they did that whole GameStop thing, uh, they were kind of doing the same thing to AMC, but I don't think it to nearly to the same effect here. So
Gotcha.
um so here's the thing: if they actually stick with this policy, it could have a trickle effect. Just because New York, I don't think it's really. I don't think it's really controversial to say that they probably were the most uh, hard hit in the pandemic in the United States. So if they're opening
Yeah.
their theaters up, you might see more states actually start to, you know, loosen the reins on like movie theaters in other states here. And if it keeps trickling on like this, we could see about maybe 75% capacity like fairly soon, I would hope, because I don't think like really many movie studios that are still banking on the movie theater format are going to, settle for like a 25% capacity, like only get 25% of revenue for their
No.
movie. So I think they will.
There's almost no point to doing that. So I don't know.
I think ultimately it's gonna have to at least be 75 for like the big studios to say, okay, yeah, we are going to release our uh, big budget blockbuster movie.
Well, I think we even talked about that a while ago when stuff started to kind of loosen up and then they cut it back again,
Yeah,
where they
back
were
in
allowing limited
September.
capacity. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But there is a movie coming out that has to come out on time or I will be a very, very angry person.
Yeah,
And that's coming from this new studio called Avatar Studios. Not that kind of Avatar. Avatar: The Last Airbender
yeah,
Avatar.
yeah, not naked blue people in space Avatar. We're talking like the OG Avatar. We're talking like, wind bending, martial arts, dope animation, that kind of stuff here.
Yeah, Avatar Studios will be a dedicated studio for expanding the world of Avatar, which is insane to me, but makes me very, very happy. It's going to
Mhm.
make its debut on Paramount Plus, which I think you actually alluded to that fact that if they do a kind of Avatar series, it's going to be on this platform, which I agree with.
Yeah, well, not only that, but they did say it was going to be on Nickelodeon platforms, but also unnamed third party platforms. Now,
Netflix.
right, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. Seeing how Netflix probably has some type of situation set up to where they can, you know, say, "Hey, we actually have like a contract that says that any Avatar series is on our platform for, X amount of years or X amount of months here or something like that."
Which I think that only helps Avatar in general get to the wider audiences because there's probably a ton of people that didn't know about Avatar: The Last Airbender up until recently.
Yes. I mean, I think, well, especially considering how it's over the summer when it came out on Netflix, it blew up. It was the top 10 for, I want to say, like maybe month and a half, 2 months or something like that consistently.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, obviously, you know, Avatar's base is the people that you want. They're already on Netflix. So I kind of feel like if they were smart, they would have to put this on Netflix at minimum here, or at least starting out. And then you can goad them into like going over to Paramount Plus or whatever. But Merry Christmas, everyone. You came early. Um, but I'm kind of surprised it took them a while to actually do this, because here's the thing. It's like it blew up last year, and just the fact that this is such a beloved series and we haven't been getting like consistent, you know, new shows, movies, or whatever. Like it took them this long to do it, but we got it. So I'm guessing,
Yeah.
we will get like a new Avatar series that's going to be taking place sometime after Korra eventually, but apparently their first project is going to be a movie. And uh some people claim, or sources claim, that it is going to be a Last Airbender movie that is going to be taking place after the Last Airbender, which makes sense. I mean, come on,
Was
that's your
I
most
was I your source?
no.
Yeah, no, I think that honestly, I thought as soon as I heard this was gonna be a movie, I'm like, it's gonna be a continuation of Avatar: The Last Airbender for sure. And I
Yeah,
think possibly we get a couple of series. One being maybe like a Kyoshi series. I can see them doing a continuation of one story, which is the first Airbender, or if not first Airbender, first Avatar.
yeah,
Uh, and then let's face it, the creators are pretty political and led to shed light on modern political stuff. So I can see them doing a continuation of Korra as well, something more modern.
possibly, possibly. I mean, we shall
I'm
see.
I'm
I
excited
mean, I wouldn't put it
regardless.
past them. Yeah,
So
no, I mean, I, yeah, I mean, it should be good. Should be good.
should. Well, let's talk some more animated series. One being the Bad Batch. It gets a release date.
Yeah, May the 4th.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, they had a really action-packed trailer like a couple of months ago during that Disney shareholder event, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna pass on this one just because the last season of Clone Wars, like except for like the last 3 or 4 episodes, were pretty mediocre. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'll at least give it 2 episodes before I decide whether to pass on it or continue to watch it. I think I owe it at least 2 episodes because it's made by the same people doing Clone Wars.
yeah,
Um, Dave Filoni, if he's attached, which I'm pretty sure he is,
yeah,
uh, it's gonna be good, or at least okay.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. So
More Star Wars stuff.
yeah,
Republic Commando Remastered is heading our way, coming out April 6th for PS4 and Switch. $15. Trailer looked okay. I mean, I didn't play this growing up. It looks honestly just like a Halo type
yeah.
fight first person shooter to me.
Yeah, no, I mean it definitely has that Halo DNA going for it for sure. I mean, definitely inspired. Kind of surprised we didn't get more games like this from like Star Wars, seeing how big Halo was at the time during when this whole thing was going down. But I am kind of somewhat interested to play this. I've never played it. I kind of always wanted to when I was a kid, so who knows? I mean, I might pick it up on sale. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's not expensive to begin with, so yeah, that's if it's on sale, you never know.
You never know.
Um, last week, we were mere moments away from breaking this news. We got leaks about it, and it was literally confirmed. I think I went to YouTube to watch something, and right there was a trailer for Fortnite getting Street Fighter stuff, and now you can get Ryu and Chun Li, both skins. You can get like a little package deal with some other stuff. Actually, you get a backpack that's like an arcade cabinet, which I thought was actually pretty cool. But you have to have the Chun Li skin to get that. I don't know why it's in those packages, but it is.
Yeah.
And so, what are they going to do next?
At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if Waluigi actually made it to Fortnite before he did Smash here at this rate. I mean,
Yeah.
they're competing for being like the big crossover game. Like I can't.
They're all here. They're all
Yeah,
here.
I mean, this is the same game where you can have Batman shooting Kratos in the face with a gun while John Rambo watches here.
Yeah. Yeah. And what property is not in Fortnite at this point? That's kind of what you have to start thinking through.
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious. You think Dom's gonna show up?
At this rate, I wouldn't be
see him
surprised.
showing up.
I could actually see that, especially with like the cars that they added, and then also just the fact that they always try to go for like the big movie franchises. Like aside from like Star Wars and Marvel, like probably the next big thing is Fast and Furious in terms of like the big money makers for the most part here. So yeah,
True.
I could totally see that, especially considering how like, they're putting in characters that kind of appeal to like an older audience, like Predator, Rambo. They just put in Ripley and the Xenomorph. So, I mean,
Street Fighter.
I think that is totally likely at this point.
Yeah, me too. So let's talk about Cyberpunk a little bit because there's Cyberpunk news almost every week, just like Snyder Cut stuff. So
Yep.
Cyberpunk. For those of you who don't know, there was a leak, basically not a leak, but stuff got stolen from. There was a cyber
They got
attack. Let's just
hacked.
say it. There's a cyber attack,
There was a cyber attack.
which delayed a patch from being put in the game. So now it's projected that the patch is going to come out sometime in March. We don't really know.
Yeah. Who could have predicted this? Oh, wait, I did. Like 2 weeks
Dum,
back.
dum, dum. Yeah.
No, I mean, what did we expect? If you wanted the game to get better, you let these people get to work and not, direct their attention elsewhere. Simple facts of life, people. Simple logic.
I agree.
Follow it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some video game news, some more video game news, I guess, with some properties we both like a lot. One being Overwatch and the sequel to Overwatch. There's some news to this. We had BlizzCon last Friday when we were recording our last episode of the podcast, so we missed all that, and so we're going to talk about it today, basically.
Yeah, we're bringing you the latest news about 1 week late here. So, yeah, so there was like a big like 40-minute video where they did like the behind the scenes of like Overwatch. I don't know if you watched that.
No, I didn't.
But I watched it. I mean, there was a lot of information to that. I mean, they talked about a lot of stuff here. I mean, just kind of the main things that I guess stood out to me was like, you saw some new maps. We got a map for Rome and New York City. They're showing a little bit more of their newest character that they introduced in the Overwatch 2 trailer, Sojourn. She basically has a railgun, so seems like an interesting character to play as. And they're experimenting with the idea of passive abilities for the hero. So what that means is like tanks will have like less knockback from like like Farrah's like I think it's like her concussion missile, whatever it's called. Healers may just regenerate health just on their own, without having to do any abilities.
That's cool. Man.
DPS will have like better movement speed or like be quicker, so they can kind of get around the map quicker, or like get out of a hairy situation quicker, stuff like that. Also they're trying to make tanks more aggressive up close, which kind of like with like Reinhardt and all that, being able to actually do more with him when you're engaged in like a fight. They have like a bunch of improvement details to like sound and animation. Like they went to like different locations to like get the sound of like guns, in terms of like how like the sound reverbs off of like certain like depending on like where you're at, if you're like in a more echoey area, or like further away, or if you're up close to a wall, kind of stuff like that, which I'm like, okay, that's a cool attention to detail. I mean, I don't think it really is like that crazy, but it's cool. But
Yeah.
But in terms of like some of their bigger focuses about this whole behind the scenes, they talked about hero missions, which supposedly there's supposed to be hundreds of these things, and they'll be PvE. They will use existing maps in different ways, like different sections of the map might open up that you never saw before. They will have some story elements to them. It may be a little bit lighter on that. And according to IGN, I don't remember this from the video, but I don't know if they talked to him for a follow-up, but apparently it's going to have a campaign. And they showed off some new looks for some of the characters, like Reaper, Farah, McCree were some of the ones that they showed. I think they showed a couple more that I'm just forgetting right now. But by and large, they kind of look the same, just like little subtle changes that are noticeable. So, kind of keeping true to the character design, but not like, doing like a vast overhaul or something like that. Um, and has a PvE skill tree for where you're basically like leveling up like your heroes when you're doing like PvE missions. So it's interesting. Here's the thing. In my mind, the first Overwatch is like a perfect or near perfect game. I don't feel like there's much more you can really improve other than like adding more characters and maps for the most part. At least because they've updated the game so much, they got so many maps, so many quality of life improvements from like when it first launched that I kind of feel like there's not a ton more you could really do to like improve upon it per se, other than like maybe just balancing and all that stuff here. I mean, a lot of the stuff that they mentioned sounds cool. I don't know if the new stuff that they're showing are like game modes that I would really play a whole lot, in all honesty. I would just, I don't know. I kind of see myself like maybe just playing it, maybe just for a little bit and say, yeah, no, I just want to go back to, good old PvE or PvP and classic Overwatch. But that being said, I'll buy this game anyway, regardless of my skepticism, just because it's going to be the latest version of Overwatch. They're going to stop updating Overwatch 1 at some point. So if I want to be continuing to play Overwatch, kind of have to buy the sequel. So.
Yeah, speaking of sequels, we got some Diablo news as well from BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Diablo 2 Remastered is coming, which looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we got some Diablo 4 news, and you could add in on this because I didn't watch the whole entire thing that they had, but I watched the different trailers that they put out, and Diablo 4 gets a new cinematic trailer for the Rogue class. Now, a while ago, we got, I think 3 classes like a year ago at BlizzCon. But this one's the Rogue class. And so this one's like more like an assassin type class. If you want to, think through how this person plays, they showed some gameplay, some really quick gameplay, and then I guess they had some more gameplay later. It looks fine. I'm not blown away by anything. It looks like Diablo.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks decent. That's it. That's about it. I mean, there's not much more we have other than that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like get way too into the Diablo 4 news just because I'm not like the biggest Diablo fan, but I did like what I played with 3. I mean, it's supposed to have
only because you could be the airbender.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly went Demon Hunter on mine, but no, I mean, it has like it is supposed to have like an open world element of some type. I didn't look too much into that, but that's a thing. So yeah, I mean, if it comes to consoles, I might give it a shot just because, I mean, that seems like a good, co-op friend game or whatever here. I mean, apparently like Diablo 3 on consoles is actually better than the PC version from what I heard, or at least like plays better than the PC version. I don't know, but so might be worth looking into.
Cool. I mean, yeah. And guess what? There was another direct, but it wasn't from Nintendo.
No, it was not.
Pokemon Presents puts Nintendo Direct to shame.
It kind of sounds like it. I have not like looked at any of the trailers, and I just only have seen your show notes on this. So I'm actually kind of curious to hear like what actually this thing is about here for the most part.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, no, I must.
So, yeah, it was about a 10-minute video. I want to say it wasn't long at all, but or maybe it was a little bit longer. Maybe it was 20. I can't remember. So it was a shorter video. It wasn't like a full direct length, but it's Pokemon's 25th anniversary, and they kind of had a really good presentation that takes you through the start of Pokemon, like all the different games when they came out in like Japan and stuff, and then up to what's current and then what's to come. And so what's to come is pretty big in my opinion. Uh, and so there's 3 games
Okay.
that were kind of talked about. Well, they talked about Pokemon Snap and some other things that were already released, but these are new games I'm talking about. We got remakes of Diamond and Pearl. So we got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which are, for those who don't know, it's the remix of the Sinnoh region. And those games came out in 2007, I believe. And so yeah, pretty cool. And I'm excited for these. They're kind of done. The only like kind of nitpicky thing I have about this specifically is that it's kind of more of a chibi like animated. They didn't do like full on sword and shield animation
Mm.
with it. They kind of went to like a chibi, still kind of top down. So it feels almost identical to like the older games, but with a fresh new look.
But
Um,
is it more along the lines of like let's go Eevee, let's go Pikachu and that type of
Yeah, I would say
style?
there's definitely those vibes. I'm really hoping it's not like that as far as gameplay goes. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's releasing late this year, so I'm guessing holiday this year because kids are gonna want their Pokemon games, obviously. Um,
Well, and Pokemon games historically release in the fall.
oh yes, but not this next game we're gonna talk about.
Okay, let's hear it.
Pokemon Legends Arceus, open world RPG. Let that just sink in real
So,
quick.
no, I mean, this is essentially I think what people wanted from like Sword and Shield. They wanted the Breath of the Wild treatment
Yes.
for Pokemon, and this looks like from what I'm reading to be essentially just that. Now, is this like intended to be a mainline Pokemon game?
I don't know. I think it's going to be different than a mainline game. Like, I think there's going to be just as much content. The battles are going to be the same. But because we just got Sword and Shield, what, a year ago, maybe?
A little
I
over a year
don't,
ago, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It could be the next. I don't think it's going to be the main line because it doesn't follow the same formula. We don't know if there's gyms and stuff like that, but it's going to be more of an exploring game, very similar as far as art style and the cell shading to Breath of the Wild. If you
Okay.
watch the trailer, so this game also takes place in the Sinnoh region many years before Diamond and Pearl. You even see it if you guys if you watch the trailer. The Pokeballs are even like more ancient looking. It's kind of interesting. It's set in kind of the feudal, kind of more like a. I can't remember if Sinnoh's based off Japan or not. I can't remember honestly, but more of a feudal look. I'm guessing it
Okay.
is since it's like that. But and it's your job to put together the first Pokedex in the Sinnoh region. And so this is coming early 2022. And something that's interesting that the starter Pokemon aren't the typical Sinnoh starters. So you have instead of Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup, you're going to have Cyndaquil, Oshawa, and Rowlet, which are all from different areas. And so, kind of the way they described this in the trailer, because I was like, oh, they're just going to give us the starters. Like they're like, nope, these are going to be the starting. And I think it makes sense for it said like the professor brought them back from other regions for you to start with. So I'm guessing you're going to be able to capture the other starters or the Pokemon that become the starters in the wild, which I think is pretty cool. Um,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, and you know, I think it's just a way, like I said, for them to be like, hey, go out and find those starters in here. Maybe I don't know if they'll be rare. It doesn't look like they are because I think there was a Chimchar in the trailer that happened. But for those of you guys who know me and who know any Pokemon fan, really, and especially my brother, this could be everything every Pokemon fan has been waiting for. Like, it looks really cool so far, and I'm sure as we get closer, more and more information is going to make us more and more excited for this. The presentation put Nintendo to shame, in my opinion, and I can only imagine the hype if
Yeah.
Pokemon was part of that. If Pokemon was part of that direct and didn't do their own thing,
Oh,
that
it'd
would
be a
have
10 out of
been
10.
yeah, pretty close. I mean, imagine what one like series can do for it, but yeah, it was dope.
Well, yeah, because I mean, in that whole direct, like we talked about it last week, but the whole time I was waiting, I'm like, okay, where's the big stuff? Where are the big guns for this here? I mean, the really only big gun that they fired off was Splatoon 3 in terms of like new first party games for the Switch. And I mean, I guess I get why they didn't put it in the direct from last week, just because they wanted Pokemon to have like its 25th anniversary thing, and plus the
Yeah.
Pokemon Company, it's not completely under Nintendo. They have like leeway and like can do certain things and like what they want, just like how they made Pokemon Go. Like Nintendo didn't really see like a ton of money from that, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's it for our new nerd news. Let's head into our roundtable review.
So we are going to be talking about WandaVision episode 8. Now, I'm just going to say this right up front. I'm kind of surprised, after we learned that it was Agatha all along and she killed Sparky in the last episode.
Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, spoilers ahead, obviously. I'm kind of surprised that John Wick didn't show up to have a word with her or something like that, in all honesty. But, Marvel will get him someday or something. So, I don't know what.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was a good episode. It's very different in tonality from the other episodes, even the most recent episodes. And so there wasn't really a genre for this one. It was just kind of felt like a Marvel movie, basically, almost.
In all honesty,
so this is where we get to see how everything started. And what I mean for that is from Wanda, how she got her power, or where maybe she got her powers from. I think this was like a really soft hint that she was actually born with her powers. And then the Infinity Stone.
That's the impression I got.
Yeah, and which would allude that they're mutants, not genetically experimented on. Yes, the Infinity Stone did do something to her and maybe gave her some more power, but
right.
So we get to see Wanda as a child and up until the first episode of WandaVision, basically. We learn more about Agatha and her beginning as a witch in Salem. And they finally use Wanda's name, Scarlet Witch, which I think that's the first time they've used it.
Yeah.
So kind of seems
I'm
to
pretty
be
sure that is the first time.
Yeah, and it kind of seems to be just like Scarlet Witch is like a moniker of this really powerful, kind of almost reincarnated power. If that makes sense. Like that's the vibe I was getting, is like the Infinity Stone came to her and kind of like gave her like a vision of what looked like a classic Scarlet Witch outline, like the headpiece and everything. And so there's like tales of this Scarlet Witch, and actually it's Agatha that calls her that. It's not even Wanda calling herself that. And so this whole episode is really Agatha going, how do you do this? How did you do this? I want to know. I want the power. I want to know how to do this. And so kind of seems like there's almost like this reincarnation of power, similar to the Avatar, but evil. And then we get, so we get her kind of through different stages. We get her as she's a kid, and her and Pietro have to figure out stuff together. And then we get her as like a, early 20 something, getting experimented on by Hydra. And then we get her going to Sword to get Vision's body back, and they're dismantling him, which pissed her off. So she takes his body, basically. I think that was kind of.
She actually,
they don't. They actually, yeah. So we more on that later. So she doesn't get him. So we were led to believe basically that she took his body and kind of reformed him, which basically he's just an echo. Like he's not even. So the Vision we're seeing is not even real at all. And so he's kind of confirmed he's really dead, and it's just an echo of like her memory and stuff like that. But at the very end of the episode, we get White Vision, which is a rebuilt, brand new body, it looks like, Vision from what I saw. And then if you want to dive into the comic version of this, which we might be getting a little bit of it, but this came from West Coast Avengers, the Vision arc, Quest arc, and basically it's a blank slate of Vision, no emotions or memories from from his previous life. He's kind of cold and unfeeling, and in the comic version, I guess his brainwaves aren't necessarily based off of Jarvis. It's Wonder Boy, so there's like a or Wonder Man. There's a whole different uh story arc in there on how Vision kind of comes to be. But
Hmm.
guessing the final battle is gonna be Witch versus Witch and Vision versus Vision. If I had to guess, that's what the next episode is gonna be.
More likely than not. Now, I'm kind of curious as to, will they use Vision's newly built body as a way for Vision's like consciousness or like the Vision that exists inside the Hex to kind of like merge together to kind of create like, a like Vision 2.0 or something like that.
Yeah, I think part of the arc too was like this Vision going to try to get his memories back in some way, which I don't know how you do that if you're a different person, basically. But I can totally see that happening. Like Wanda closes the hex, it merges that echo, the memory she has of Vision with this new Vision. Uh,
Mhm.
Tim
Yeah.
Seabrook will love it, you know?
Oh, I was gonna say Tim Seabrecht he's gonna be crying out in agony here, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I definitely think this was one of the stronger episodes of this season. Like you said, felt like an MCU movie. Um, just really like answering like some really big questions we've had. Like, okay, so like how did this whole thing started? Like was Agatha pulling the strings all along? Is she the one that was actually responsible for Westview and all that? Turns out she's not. She just wanted to
Turns
capitalize on
out she was
what was
responsible
going.
for almost nothing.
Right. She wanted to capitalize on what's going on in Westview, and um, also just revelations like Wanda didn't never actually stole Vision's body. That was just a complete hoax, which you know, sort like the organization Sword, not off to a great start for its MCU debut. They're just straight up bad guys at this rate here. But kind of
Well, have you heard the theory about the director of Sword? That one
no,
dude?
no. He is he a
Uh,
the theory that he's Hydra or something?
no, 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 no. Apparently, he's Ultron.
Oh, you know what? I think I did hear something about that. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So we'll see. Yeah,
That would be
especially
very
with like
interesting.
Vision, kind of. It makes sense. I don't know.
It does, but I mean, yeah, no, that would be
I mean,
interesting. We'll see.
yeah. The one thing we didn't get was we didn't get any Monica Rambeau or Pietro in this episode, which I was really hoping to find out more about what's up with Pietro.
Yeah, because I mean, even though we got like a lot of questions answered, the biggest one, which it is still for me, is like, what is the deal with Pietro? Like, is this an actual multiverse, thing happening, or is this just kind of like a wink and nod to like people who know about the Marvel and like how they had their rights split up with Fox here essentially a couple years back.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know.
yeah, I mean, from the sounds of it, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case just based on some of the information that we got from this episode, but you never know. And then, I mean, essentially, they pretty much confirmed that Wanda has creation powers, like she was able to create Vision, and then the twins and blah, blah, blah. So, we'll see how that whole thing like really plays out. I mean, I think by the end of the series or whenever the end of this storyline plays out, whether that's in Multiverse of Madness or what have you, we're going to see her like fully embrace like the reality warping Scarlet Witch and her in the costume that we know from the comics.
Yeah, we can hope.
Yeah.
We got some
So
more reviews though.
we do. So next up on the list, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. So I just bought this game on Thursday. It came out Thursday and played about 3 hours roughly. So this is just more of a first impressions than like a full on blown review. So only seen about 2 levels so far in this game. I liked what I've played. I started out with the hardest difficulty, and after dying about 100 times on the first level without getting anywhere near to the first checkpoint, I'm like, maybe I should
Wow.
tone this. Maybe I should tone this down just a hair. And
Yeah.
like that difficulty level, which is called night, it's probably the difficulty level you want if you want more classic Ghosts and Goblins style gameplay and whatnot. Art style is not bad. It has a skill tree, so collecting stuff in this game actually matters. You level up certain things, so you can like hold on to like more weapons at once. You have like magic that you can do that is really helpful. Um, you know, too early to say whether or not I would recommend this or not, but I liked what I played so far. If you played, Ghosts and Goblins or Super Ghosts and Ghouls on the Super Nintendo, this might be something worth checking out. So I might have more in depth impressions in the coming weeks. So, but that's pretty much all I
Word.
got for on my end. We're going to be flipping it over to you for The Last Ronin, number 2. So, for those of you who may not remember, this is the Ninja Turtle comic that takes place in the future. There it is. And basically, it's one turtle is still alive. This is the second part of this thing. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, this was an amazing issue.
Okay.
It's been so long since I read the first one, but I think I gave that one a really good score. Uh,
Do we need
we
to do a
see,
spoiler warning for all of this
yes,
here? Okay. So,
yeah.
spoilers ahead.
Uh, Basically, this is looking back on the part because we don't know a whole lot about Michelangelo, because he's the last Ronin. For those of you who don't know,
Yep.
we don't know a whole lot about how he became the last Ronin, like how his brothers died, how his father died. And so basically, this issue picks up right where the last one left off, where Michelangelo was saved. And uh, basically, it happens to be someone we know. It's by basically April. April had to do something with it. That's all I'm going to say. But I won't spoil everything in it because I want people to read it. But and as well as
Yeah.
Casey Jones, but not that Casey Jones. It's Casey and April's daughter, Casey Marie Jones.
Oh.
Yeah. And the issue flashes between current time and the comic and whenever things started to go down. And basically, the Ninja Turtles and the Foot Clan had a truce. And the way they kind of describe uh, the Foot Clan and Turtles is like they're basically two different families and have been warring for a long time. And basically, there was a truce that was broken when the Turtles were jumped coming out of the sewers, and Master Splinter was put in a critical condition. They rushed to April's house, and 3 of the 4 brothers show up there, and Leonardo's making sure that they're all okay, basically. So Leo's out there, and Casey Jones kind of looks at Raph and was like, "We got to go help Leo. Like, excuse me, what are we, what are we doing? Like," and Raph's like, "Let's do this." And then and then you hear this, you read this dialogue of go, "No, you guys don't have to do anything. Basically, it's okay. I took care of it." And it's Leo. He shows up. And the brothers are kind of having a conversation. They're trying to figure out what his wounds are, what Splinter's wounds are, if he's going to make it or not. And then as this is going on, you notice that one of the turtles is gone, and it's Raph. Raph's pissed off and hunts down Karai, who's Shredder's daughter and the leader of the Foot Clan at this point. And Raph kills a bunch of Foot Clan, like a bunch of them, and ends up fighting Karai, killing her and sacrificing himself in the process. So we get our first turtle death. So it was pretty crazy because Raph's honestly my favorite. Raph and Leo.
Yeah.
And so we learned more about Michelangelo's quest, why he became the last Ronin, which was really just to restore his family's honor after everyone was gone. And he went to a mountain basically to die after all this happened and all his brothers were killed. And so he started meditating and kept hearing voices calling out to him like it wasn't his time. He still had his destiny to fulfill. And some more stuff happens, but basically the next issue cover like is kind of on the, I don't know if it's the cover or just a cover that they're going to do, but it's like on the next issue and it's got one of Leo's swords on like a I don't know if it's a mountain of people or Foot Clan or like just a mountain, and then it's got Casey Jones' mask. So I'm guessing the next issue is going to be all about how Leo and Casey die. Oh, and I forgot to say early in the episode, it kind of starts with, in the flashback at least, that Casey Jones and April are getting married. I'm guessing that doesn't happen, or at least maybe it does actually, and I don't know. We'll see, but I can't hype this series up enough. Like, this is some crazy good stuff coming out of IDW. Like, bravo to them. I give it a 10 out of 10 for this issue and its predecessor. Like, I'm bummed I had to wait this long. Like, this whole arc, this whole story should be almost about over, but because we keep getting delayed, I cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you've mentioned this before, but it seems like this is essentially the Dark Knight Returns equivalent to the Ninja Turtles, not just in terms of like tone and like it being dark and whatnot, but in terms of also just like quality as well here, about like being like a really landmark story arc for the Ninja Turtles.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you should probably wait until it comes out in trade, or you could read digitally, but it's super good.
That's cool. That's really
all right.
cool.
Well, that's it, you guys. Thanks for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Check us out on our social media. It's late. Make sure you subscribe, you leave a review, all that good stuff. Share it with your friends. Have an awesome week. Remember, everyone's a nerd about something.